Confident. How can I be confident if I don't even like my body or part of my body or that thing on my body? I'm Rick from Thriving Now, and this is a real skills workshop. And one of our intentions is to help us all feel a bit more calm and a bit more confident in our skin, in our walk in the world, and as we assert ourselves around things that matter. And if relationships and interacting with other people matters to you, the energy that we carry with us about how we feel about ourselves is a part of the relationship. And I say that not to, you know, everyone is doing that. We can't help it. And by consciously spending some time together in this way, what we're saying is, hey, this is normal for people to have some dislike about something in their body, but it doesn't have to be our natural state. We can actually use some skill to shift that. And why is that important? This is Kathy Vartuli from the Intimacy Dojo and Thriving Now, and my dear, dear, dear friend. And I'm so grateful that you're here with us.
Yeah, so I love talking about this. And in fact, Rick was the first person that really helped me enjoy my body. I grew up with sexual abuse, and my body was a source of pain and trauma. And ever since I was 13, I've been a little bit bigger and then a little bit bigger. And in our society, there's a lot of very obvious judgment about that. So I just viewed my body as this thing that I had to carry around, and it was so much effort. And it was a source of pain. And I remember working with Rick, it's like 14 years ago now, and he's like, can you find one part of your body that you don't actively hate? And it took me a little bit of energy. It took some time. And I'm like, well, the skin on the back of my left hand isn't too bad. And he's like, okay, so I just want you to look at that and be with that. And we baby step this forward. Some of us were here earlier and talking about moving, like it's a big task. And as someone shared, it's like eating an elephant one bite at a time. Changing our image around our body is something that can happen just one baby step at a time. And it's so important because this is how we walk through the world. This is how we present ourselves. And when we're hating ourselves, whether it's a part of our body or the way our body's working or how it feels, that shows. People can pick up on that. And our survival brains are really geared for status, and that part of our brain wants to know we are valuable. It feels our identity is attached to that. We want to know that our community, our group really cares about us, and that they'll rescue us if hyenas chase us, or if there's not enough food, or if there's a famine, are they going to share some of the food with us? So our survival brain gets really scared when there's something that's being judged by other people. And there's things about our bodies that people can easily see, whether we have extra fat cells on our body, or we can't move as easily, or we have wrinkles, whatever it is. We judge ourselves about that. And then it's hard to walk through the world enjoying ourselves when our survival brain is freaking out. It's like danger, danger, danger all the time. I just watched a documentary about Audrey Hepburn the other day. I love her. She's a great actress, in my opinion. And she was talking about how she didn't like her body. Now, this is one of the women that has been deemed most beautiful in the world ever, of all time. And she was like, my feet are too big. My nose is too long. I wish I wasn't quite so tall. I wish I had, I think she said, I wish I had more of a figure, but she was kind of indicating she was a very petite woman. She was indicating her chest. Even people that are incredibly beautiful by our conventional standards are still doing the same thing. So no matter where we're at, we're all struggling with this. And if we can start identifying that, I really want to honor you. If you're here listening to this in live, or if you listen to the recording later, please realize you're doing something that most people never do. They're like fish swimming in a fish tank, and they have no idea that there's water there. They don't realize they can make changes. They just feel like this is true. That's what I thought for so long. My body is wrong. My body is bad. And then as I gradually started with that little bit of skin on the back of my left hand, and then I was like, well, I don't really hate my eyes. And gradually I started like, wow, my body is pretty amazing. It's pretty functional over time. And there are still days when being a bigger person in this world and noticing a few wrinkles and gray hairs coming in, there's days when it feels heavier than others, but I have muscles now that I can go, oh, that's society having its way with me. I know I'm a valuable person. I can care about me. And when I walk through the world that way, people quickly pick up on that. Because I value myself, they have more room to value me. And there's going to be some people that judge us, but having that confidence, the real skills that Rick's talking about, where we can transform our world and create amazing things by doing a little bit of work, normalizing this and seeing as a community, like all of us being here, each of you, we're all seeing each other's survival brains and going, I'm not alone. Maybe it's okay to change this. And that's so powerful when we come together in a group like this.
Objections. If you have an objection to what we're saying, and it doesn't have to be logical, it can be something that as you think about this process or accepting yourself a little bit more, what objection comes up for you? Feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll say that, there was a belief that I brought, and they're sometimes called limiting beliefs. They're certainly like a frame of reference. So I thought that if I accepted something that wasn't working right about my body, it would mean that I would just like, who cares about it, right? Like, shh, I don't care, and just let it all go to pot. And so I stuck with I hate the fact that my ankle is weak. My ankles are weak. My ankles are weak. My ankles are weak. I hate that my ankles are weak. My ankles are weak. My ankles are weak. That was a mantra, and it was repeated over and over again. And my knees are weak. And I get a lot of pain in my knees, all this pain in my knees. And this is from the age of 13. Okay. So like by the time I'm in my 20s and this is really established. But you'll notice something. I spent a lot of energy criticizing and being unhappy with and having an attitude toward my ankles and my knees. And what happens if we have an attitude towards something? Well, we don't want it. We don't want it, right? Like, oh, I don't like that. Oh, that's not cool. That's not acceptable. That's broken. That needs to be fixed. You know, but like saying that needs to be fixed, that pushes it away.
Distance that creates this
Somebody
huge.
else is going to fix this, right? Like, or there's something that should happen to fix this. And so there's a quality of disconnection, dissociation, pushing away. Trauma can do this in a big way for intimate parts of our body or our eyebrows. Trauma has a way of again like pushing it away. And what I noticed was that when we accept someone like our ankle, to personify my ankle, it was interesting. As part of preparing for this, I've done a lot of work with my body. I had a really negative attitude toward it for many years growing up. Trauma impacted that. But one of the things I noticed is that echo of my ankle, my ankle, my ankle was still around. And so by tapping on that and just making it a little bit quieter, my ankle said, hey, if you release some of the pressure and tension in your calf muscle, I actually can move really well. I'm actually really flexible and strong. Now that's a different kind that I want that because I know that when I hated my guts, when you say hate your guts, well, I hated my guts. My guts were killing me in my late 20s and early 30s. And when I switched to, oh, I wonder what my guts are telling me. Oh, they're an important part of my life. They do a lot for me, just like my ankles carry me around. By making that transition, even a little baby step, what you will notice is that your capacity to relate in difficult situations will dramatically improve. because there's nothing more difficult than a pain in your own body. It's really intimate. You're feeling it. It's there. You go to bed with it. You wake up with it. If you get good at being present and okay and accepting that, look, this is where we are right now, your capacity to be in challenges of all kinds and see them through to a place of like, oh, we're actually stronger now. We're actually we have capacities here.
Yeah, could we do
Um,
a little tapping on that? Because I pulled up this analogy in other calls, but like if you have a house plant and you're there, you're a bad house plant. Look at you, you're not blooming, you're just bad. And you're, when we're ignoring parts of our body, just like this house plant, we're not giving it food or water or careful attention. We're just giving it negative energy. It's never going to thrive. And then we wonder why we're not thriving when we're sending all this energy in our body.
yeah. So we use EFT tapping. If I included a link, thrivingnow.com/tapping is our free guide. We're not going to be teaching tapping, but you're welcome to mimic. And since you all are muted, please feel free to tap along if you can. If you're in some place where you don't feel that you could speak out loud, speak it out loud in your head while you tap. Go ahead, Kathy.
Even though I don't want to be right here with these feelings,
Even though I don't want to be right here with these feelings in my body,
I feel angry that they're here.
I feel angry that they're here.
And sometimes I feel sad
And sometimes I feel sad
and hopeless and depressed.
and hopeless and depressed about it.
The truth is, I have these feelings right now.
The truth is, I have these feelings right now.
What if I looked at them as communication
What if I looked at them as communication
instead of a signal that something's wrong with me?
instead of a signal that something's wrong with me?
Top of the head, I have these feelings right now.
I have these feelings right now.
Eyebrow, I don't want to.
I don't want to.
Side of the eye, I want them to go away.
I want them to just go away.
Under the eye, what if I could listen to them for a few minutes?
What if I could listen to them for a few minutes?
Under the nose, the warning, the engine light in my car doesn't go away if I don't fix it.
Yeah, the engine light, the check engine light doesn't just go away if I don't actually do something.
Chin, I have to notice what's wrong.
I have to notice and find out what's wrong.
Collarbone, and my body has so much wisdom.
And my body has so much wisdom.
Under the arm, if I stop yelling at it,
If I stop yelling at it,
top of the
pushing it
head,
away,
top of the, would it have more time and energy to tell me what it actually needs?
would it have more time and energy to tell me what it actually needs?
And take a nice deep breath and just notice what comes up for you. Because for some of us, there's a lot of resistance. If there's been pain for a very long time, it's like, I don't know if I have the bandwidth to feel this right now. I don't know if I have like, some people are really depleted. And also, because we have so many stories about it, those stories come for a ride. So when my ankle feels bad, there's a thought, oh, I'm getting old. I didn't take good care enough. Like, there's all these stories as opposed to, okay, can I quiet down the chatter and just listen to what my body needs right now? Oh, like you said, Rick, my calf gets really tight, my ankle gets sore. I could just do a few stretches. Oh, wow, that helps so much. There's little baby steps, things we can do when we start listening to our body. They can give us access to really profound ways to move forward. And it can be really challenging. These are muscles we build up over time. And so if you've had a lot of pain for a long time, we're not saying just sit there in pain and focus on the pain for an hour. We're saying just take a breath and see if you can be with it for 5 seconds or 10 seconds and see if there's one thing you could do that just help it along.
There's some great things in the chat, and I wanted to touch on them because they fit with the frame of reference. The frame of reference is like, oh, I'm stupid, my body will never heal, and I'm stupid to try to heal it. Well, what I hear when I hear that is like the fix it. There's there's an attitude that says when something's off, when there's pain in the body, that what needs to happen is we need to fix it so that we don't have the pain. And it's not it can work for something like there's a rock in my shoe, but we're going deeper. And what I'd like to propose is that there's no tissue in your body that you don't have a relationship with. Now, you can have a real antagonistic relationship with it. You can have a dismissive one. Someone said, I feel like my body does tell me what it needs. My struggle is that I don't necessarily listen or give it what it needs when it does. Well, if we have any love relationship and we do that, there is the need for a healing in the relationship. There's like, oh, I choose to pause and drop in with you and what you need and see if there's a yes, yes here. So, like, this is the overarching part of the real skill. It says, okay, I need to quiet down enough the noise. Like, I'm stupid to try to heal this, or
I'm defective.
shut up, body, go away. I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to do this for you. That's noisy, right? That's avoidance or anxiety or fear or a lot of other things. We'll tap on a bunch of them. And the confidence says, I may not, I'm with this body till death do us part. And there is a better relationship. It's possible to have a better relationship tomorrow than I do today and the day after and the day after. And it won't be linear. There'll be days when I'll feel a little off with my body. But the viewing it even as a relationship is different than viewing it as parts. And yeah, so I'd like to do some tapping right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though I've got all this noise
Even though I've got all this noise.
and I'm scared I can't fix my body.
And I'm scared I can't fix my body.
I may even know that fixing is not what this is about.
I may even know that fixing is not what this
And
is.
I don't want to face that.
And I don't want to fix that.
I don't want to face that.
I don't want to face that.
I do have a relationship with my body.
I do have a relationship with my body.
It's till death do us part.
It's till death do us part.
Better or worse.
For better or worse.
Sickness and in hell.
Sickness and in health.
I have a relationship with my body.
I have a relationship with my body.
And right now I'm choosing to calm a bit.
And right now I'm choosing to calm a bit.
And be a bit more present.
And be a bit more present.
Which is hard.
Which is hard.
My body can be so noisy.
My body can be so noisy.
The eye. It can feel so demanding.
It can feel so demanding.
The eye. It can feel so unsatisfiable.
It can feel so unsatisfiable.
And sometimes I just can't soothe it.
Sometimes I just can't soothe it.
And it's a relationship.
And it's a relationship.
It's my most intimate relationship.
It's my most intimate
whether I've treated it that way or not.
Whether I've treated it that way or not.
And a part of me has hated parts of me.
And a part of me has hated parts of me.
I'm in a really big club.
I'm in a really big club.
What if hate really doesn't belong in our relationship?
What if hate really doesn't belong in our relationship?
Eyebrow, but I get angry.
But I get angry.
Side of the eye. That's okay.
That's okay.
Under the eye. Do I really need to hate my body?
Do I really need to hate my body?
And those, can I accept me where I am?
Can I accept me where I am?
And no.
No.
I can't accept myself where I am.
I can't accept myself where I am.
Because if I do.
Because if I do.
Pause there. this is one of those key moments where asking, like, oh, there's a resistance to accepting myself. I can't accept myself because this is one of the things that tapping does for us. It gives us places where our wisdom can rise. What's your answer? Why, why can't you accept yourself right the way that you are?
There may be grief or anger or different beliefs in there. And if you can look at them and just be with them for a minute, often we can clear them out of the way.
And feel free to share if you want. And
Yeah.
yeah. So sometimes what can come up in these moments is like not completely true for you. Like, I'll stop pushing is a 4 for me. Now, I don't, that's a bit of a surprise. I'm being authentic here and sharing, like, oh, I'll stop pushing. Okay. You know, that's interesting. That would, there's some possibilities there. Another one is like, I can't like what I don't like. Ooh, that feels powerful for me. What is it for you guys? If you're willing to share,
While people
yeah,
are typing, I noticed some grief because I had dreams of, like, when I was a kid, I would have certain experiences and having to give up on some, like, I'm probably never going to look like Audrey Hepburn. Like, sorry, that's just not going to happen. And I think we get dreams and stories about that. Like, we want to have those experiences. So there's some, I'm noticing a little bit of grief. Like, I just accept myself where I am. You know, maybe I have to give up on some of those dreams. Um, Someone else shared they would never change with the things they don't like if they accept themselves. Um, Someone else shared I'd feel like such a mean and cruel person if I had these thoughts about anyone else. I can accept myself. It means I have to live with this pain forever. Um, see, there's some others. I can't accept myself because I'm not who I used to be, and I don't know how to fill that gaping hole of loss and how to still feel capable and confident with what's left. And not, I can't accept myself. I'm not good enough as I make mistakes, and I don't know how to get past hopeless.
oh, that's our ecosystem, emotional landscape, and includes more too. Like, if your body is different, um, for whatever reason, from what most people would expect, you're going to be navigating the world a little differently too. Um,
Yeah.
and these all come up. And to give an overview again of like what is our process with these feelings, you take the feeling, the thought, and you state it out loud, even though I'm hopeless and I don't know how to get past it. That's, but someone put that
Could
right
we
in the
just do
chat.
it? Yeah, could we just
Yeah,
do a
hold
tapping on
on.
that? Oh,
Yeah, we will. Let's use that as an example. I think that's a great one. But tapping is about like taking something that feels here, you hear it, you feel it as an aspect of where you are, like this hopelessness. And then you give it a bit of a direction, the energy of a direction. So, like, just like the energy of water flows down to the sea, we can be conscious, like, how would you like to feel about this? And one of our proposals here is not that you necessarily like what you don't like, but that you accept where I am, who I am, and where I am right now,
mhm.
and work with myself. That's a possibility. You may have other ways of being. And then we tap on these comfort points while we tune into the emotion of like hopelessness. And we know that as we do this, it's creating some space inside of us for our own body's reassurance, our own sense of wisdom coming. So would you lead us in a tapping on I don't know how to get past the hopelessness?
Yeah, so I invite you to take a nice deep breath and see if you can be present with your body. This is good practice. And if your body's in a lot of pain, you can moderate how deeply you go. But I invite you to feel your feet on the floor or wherever they're, wherever they are. Notice the pressure on them. If they're on the bottom of your feet, what's the texture? Is it carpet or floor? Notice your butt in the chair. Where is the pressure on it? That helps you get in your body. Take another nice deep breath. We process things better when we're not just in our heads, when we're also in our bodies. Karate chop, even though I feel hopeless.
Even though I feel hopeless.
And I'm not sure I'll ever get past this.
And I'm not sure I'll ever get past this.
I am curious if there's another way.
I am curious if there's another way.
Even though part of me doesn't think I'll ever get past this.
Even though part of me thinks I'll never get past this.
And it makes fun of me for having curiosity.
And it makes fun of me sometimes for having curiosity.
I'm really wanting to find some way to have some relief.
I'm really wanting some relief.
I ask the universe to guide me.
I ask the universe to guide me.
And I'm really interested in finding a solution that I haven't already tried.
I'm open to finding a solution or an attitude that I haven't already really tried.
Top of the head, I feel so hopeless.
I feel so hopeless.
Eyebrow, I don't think this is ever going to change.
I don't think this is ever going to change.
Side of the eye, I've tried so many different things.
I've tried so many things.
Under the eye, I've contorted myself and twisted myself.
I've contorted myself and twisted myself.
Under the nose, I've tried everything I can think of.
I've tried everything I can think of.
Chin, I feel hopeless.
I feel hopeless.
Collarbone, part of me has given up.
Part of me has given up.
Under the arm, and I don't want to feel like this the rest of my life.
And I do not want to feel like this the rest of my life.
Top of the head, part of me thinks there might be a different solution.
Part of me thinks there might be a different solution.
Eyebrow, so I'm doing this silly tapping thing.
So I'm doing this silly tapping thing.
Side of the eye with a lot of other people.
With a lot of other people.
Under the eye, and I'm really curious if I might have a new insight.
And I'm really curious if I might have a new insight.
Under the nose, something I never looked at before.
Something I've never looked at or really embraced before.
Chin, I'm open to this and I ask for help.
I'm open to this and I ask for help.
Collarbone, because my brain hasn't been able to figure this one out.
My brain has not been able to figure this one out.
Under the arm, maybe my body, my brain, and the universe can figure it out together.
Maybe my body, brain, and universe can figure it out together.
Top of the head, because I don't want to feel this hopeless for the rest of my life.
I don't want to feel this hopeless for the rest of my life.
Just take a nice deep breath. If you have thoughts coming up really quickly, or images or memories from when you were a child or whatever it is, I encourage you to write them down right now. Your subconscious is probably sending you messages. It's probably saying, remember that time when you were 3, and pictures or scents or images or thoughts. Your subconscious will often try to help you after we've done work like this, tapping, where we brought our body and our brain together and asked for help. And if it's not right now, it might be later. You might in the middle of the night wake up with a thought or a memory or a dream. I encourage you to write those down, because our brain gets into little ruts. We have paths that we've gone over and over, and it's trying to give us an idea for a different road. And our brain will often go back to that rut. So if you can grab onto those ideas when they come up and kind of anchor them by writing them down, that can help you.
So I want to, again, this is a real skills workshop. And one of the great things about skills is that they can be learned. And we share, and we're learning from each other. So, for example, I really appreciate that the same person who said, I don't know how to get past hopeless, said, I feel weak and that's defective. And with appreciation, think about what would happen to a person's confidence if someone pointed at them and said, well, you're defective.
Oh.
Now, as soon as I feel that, like I get shaky. Now, if somebody said, hey, seems like today your energy's a little softer, maybe it's not a day of a lot of vitality and oomph. Is that true? And he said, yeah, today's not a day for chopping wood. Hasn't been for a long time. Yeah, and it's okay. It doesn't close me off from everything in life. So I just used a very different attitude toward weakness. Because if I pointed at someone and said, oh, you're so weak, it's judgmental, it's separating, like, ooh, you feel I think it's important, as hard as this is can be, to recognize that yes, people do this to each other. And the worst part of it for me, as someone who is really attuned to this, is that we internalize that that's what you do. You pick up on your weakness before anyone else does, and that somehow protects you. But you do it the same way. Instead of saying, hey, I'm kind of soft today, not a day with a lot of oomph. It's like, oh, I feel so weak. And that weak equals defective. And so this is, again, like, what do you do with that? Because if that's your truth, even though I feel weak today,
Even though I feel weak today.
and a part of me is convinced that that means I'm defective.
And a part of me is convinced that means I'm defective.
What if that's not true?
What if that's not true?
Even though it must be true.
Even though it must be true.
We celebrate Wonder Woman and Superman,
We celebrate Wonder Woman or Superman,
and not me.
and not me.
It really impacts my confidence to think of myself as weak.
It really impacts my confidence to think of myself as weak.
And it really injures me to think of myself as defective.
And it really injures me to think of myself as defective.
And that's been in my relationship.
And that's been in my relationship.
Eyebrow. It's part of my relationship with myself.
It's part of my relationship with myself.
I call myself weak.
I call myself weak.
And other things.
And other things.
Yeah, I have called myself weak.
I have called myself weak.
And other things too.
And other things too.
I would never do this to someone else.
I would never do this to someone else.
I feel horrible if I even think about doing it to someone else.
I feel horrible if I even think about doing it to someone else.
It's time for me to be kind to me.
It's time for me to be kind to me.
I'm guessing there's another way of looking at my body.
I'm guessing there's another way to look at my body.
And its energy right now.
And its energy right now.
And its capacities right now.
And its capacities right now.
And it's functioning right now.
It's functioning right now. I think a lot of this work is about actually getting our survival brain to feel a little quieter first. So a lot of the work we've been doing is just tapping on where we are. Our survival brain feels very scared if it feels like we don't fit in, if we're not as strong as we need to be. And it's looking always for the lowest common denominator, the risk factor. So if we feel weak, it's going to forget that we've done a lot to build a nice home around ourselves, that we're intelligent, that we're kind or flexible. It forgets all the other things. It just goes, weak, oh my God, fix this. The lions are going to eat us. And there is a threat in our world. Like, I want to just acknowledge that there are some people out there that were very judgmental and will attack, like people with different color skin, with transgender or different gender expressions, being bigger. I've had people catcall where I felt like they were just like, why are you out? Like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, oh, like there are some people that do that, and people that are disabled, have different abilities. Like, there are people that will judge that and attack that, but they're actually there's a lot of really wonderful people too. And I think that we need to clean out as much as we can inside, because that's going to make a ripple effect outside. I know when I look at people and I say, I've had a lot of people talk to me about my weight. And if I can just be calm with them, and I'm not, when I don't get into my shame and kind of like, oh my God, I'm too big, I shouldn't be out here. But I can just look at them and say, so I have some extra fat cells on my body and I'm still a good person, or talk to them about what's going on. It's very hard for them to, unless there's that fear and shame going back, it takes a lot of the energy out of it. And I don't think we're going to change the world overnight. But I do think when we role model, like, oh, there's days where I feel more shameful than others, but there's a lot of days where I can go, yes, I'm a bigger person in the swimming pool and I'm enjoying the water. And I've had people say, I would never have gone out in the swimming pool, but I saw you and I felt comfortable because you seem so comfortable in your body. So we can make a difference. And I feel very sad when I think of the people, transgender, uh, different races, people that are being attacked because of that. And I don't know how to fix it all right now, but I do know that when we start clearing our own shame out so that we can stand up and say, you know what, that's not okay. And I think some of those people are so filled with shame. Like a lot of people that are very homophobic were like, you're probably a closeted gay person because why are you so scared of this? Like when we clear out our own shame and we help model to other people, they can clear out their shame. We start creating a world where it's a lot better to live in. And again, there are people out there that are not kind, and someone shared in the chat about being transgender and having to be afraid of being in certain spaces, and those are real things. So our survival brain knows there's a real threat, but it also amplifies it very, very big, and it says everybody feels this way when it might be 1 in 10,000 or 1 in a million people that would actually do something to harm someone else. So I really think I love the work we're doing where we're clearing out our own inner landscape, so there's much less for other people to feed off of and reflect back.
So the next tapping I'd like to invite us is around, I feel like there's a direction. One is around the shame aspect, because shame is very noisy. It floods our nervous system, it floods our endocrine system. And so in situations where you feel shame, it's going to be hard to be calm. And you're not going to feel, it's going to be hard to know like what your value is and what you stand for, which is part of confidence. And so, and then the next thing I'd like to go to are those things that are losses, like I once was and now I'm not.
Yeah.
And that there's, we can get stuck in grief. So that's sort of the arc that I'm on. Please feel free in the chat to give us some feedback. Then we'll be taking a quick break, the 7-minute break. And then when we come back, I'd like to, while we're on the break, if you feel like, yeah, I'd like to do some tapping on this, we'll have about a half hour. And I'd like to see some hands raised if that's where we are. Kathy and I are more than willing to continue what we're doing this way too. Depends on
Yeah.
what you all want.
Yeah. And someone suggested there may be a lot of self-blame for losses too, which goes to the shame. Like we blame ourselves for what we've lost out on.
Mm-hmm. So as you're doing this, now if tapping is not right for your body or tapping on various points is not right, please feel free to skip them. You can touch and hold, you can imagine, or you can even just like find ways of, if non-touch ways even, for you to be with this. Okay. So the side of the hand, and as you do, if touch is part of your soothing, as it is for me, see if you can drop in and pay a little more attention to the sensation here. Just the sensation of you adding, soothing, connecting with yourself. See if you can feel that this point on your hand is connected to every other point of view. As you tap, you're sending a rhythm that reaches every cell. It changes your rhythm. even though I have some shame in there,
even though I have some shame in there.
and some has been laid upon me.
And a lot has been laid upon me.
And I've done some things in my life
And I've done some things in my life
and not done some things.
and not done some things.
And that's connected to shame too.
And that's connected to shame too.
I'm in the process right now
I'm in the process right now
of acknowledging where I am
of acknowledging where I am
and bringing some compassion to myself for a change.
and bringing some compassion to myself for a change.
That the shame in my body,
The shame in my body,
eyebrow, all this shame in my body.
all the shame in my body.
Yeah, I remember some of the reasons.
I remember some of the reasons.
I'm under the eye. I remember what they said.
I remember what they said.
I remember what I've said.
I remember what I've said.
There might even be some that I don't remember.
There might even be some I don't remember.
Shame is so noisy.
Shame is so noisy.
Under the arm. I I honor all the things in my life
I honor all the things in my life
that have led to this energy of shame.
that have led to this energy of this.
And I'm transforming it now.
And I'm transforming it now.
Eyebrow. Hey, shame.
Hey, shame.
Under the eye. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing, buddy?
Under the eye. I'd like to change things.
I'd like to change things.
Under the nose. I'm tired of feeling, and you fill it in. What is it? I'm tired of feeling.
I'm tired of feeling this way.
I'm honestly tired of feeling exactly this way over and over again.
I'm honestly tired of feeling this way over and over again.
Alone. I'm going to try something really ridiculous.
I'm going to try something really ridiculous.
Into the arm. Accepting myself deeply and completely.
Accepting myself deeply and completely.
Of it. What would that be like?
What would that be like?
Oh,
I really love that. I think that when we can connect with the shame and kind of talk to it, we can clear things up. I think often it's this conflict. We're like, oh, shame. I don't want to be shamed. And we're kind of blaming the shame versus, hey, I get you're here for a reason. All these voices we've heard over the time, my own voices, can we work together? And I do think that as painful as it is to have all that shame and all those experiences, we can, with tapping and group support, we can compost them and create a really beautiful garden where we can grow really amazing things. um, I know you want to tap on the loss as well, but a couple people have talked about the attention that came, and then gaining weight to get away from it or changing to get away from it. And I think that is, could we just do a quick tapping on that? Because I think that's something that there's positive and negative attention that comes from being conventionally pretty.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and our body changing to get away from something,
yeah,
which is like one of the questions that my mentor Pearl said, what's the downside of getting better? What's the downside of actually having health and vitality again or ever? And that can be really useful. And to hear, look, when I was in shape, unwanted attention from men kept coming. When I gained a bit of weight, the attention stopped. So it feels not safe to go back. Our body figures out stuff. Like it can figure out that if I'm really got a lot of energy, that all these
people want to.
obligations will get
Yeah, would you
heaped
help me
on me
move?
over and
Run
over
up the
again, over and
stairs?
over again. I can't do it. And so this is not always the case. It is worth considering and noticing if when you tap on this, that your intuition leads you either to like, that's not really my thing. That's not what's happening in my body. I'm not actually avoiding something by staying a little stalled where I am. Or it's like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
Ah, there's an aspect of like, this is actually safer to have an excuse not to see mom or not to go on a date or to, not be fit, whatever it is for you. Okay. Um, yeah.
Do we want to
Would
do
you
a
lead
round
that?
of 10? Yeah.
Yeah.
So again,
And then we'll take the break and then
I invite you to take a nice deep breath again. Notice your body. If you want to breathe down to your toes, if that feels good. The more awareness of your body you have as we do this, the more effective it'll be. Karate chop. Even though part of me wants to change how I am,
even though part of me wants to change how I am,
I didn't like some of the things that happened when I was there before.
I didn't like some of the things that happened when I was there before.
Some of the attention and requests were not nice.
Some of the attention and requests, demands were not nice.
And there's some safety in being how I am right now.
There's actually some safety in being how I am right now.
Even though I don't always like how I feel and look right now,
Even though I don't always like how I feel and how I look right now,
there is some safety here.
there's some safety here.
And part of me does not want to give that up.
And part of me refuses to give that up.
Part of me is holding on really tight.
Part of me is holding on really tight.
I don't want those old experiences ever again.
I do not want those old experiences ever again.
Top of the head. Body, thank you for figuring out this safety mechanism.
Body, thank you for figuring out the safety mechanism.
Eyebrow, I don't always like how it expresses itself.
I do not always like how it expresses itself.
Side of the eye, but you are really clever.
You were really clever.
Under the eye, you protected me when I didn't have a better way to protect myself.
You protected me when I didn't have a better way to protect myself.
Under the nose, and I'm sorry you had those experiences.
And I'm really sorry you had those experiences.
Chin, we can tap and clear those out.
It is possible to tap and clear those things out.
Collarbone, and I wonder if we can come up with better solutions than what we have right now.
And I wonder if we can come up with better solutions than what we have right now.
Under the arm, there's these lovely things called boundaries.
I have these lovely things called boundaries.
Top of the head, and maybe we can figure some of those out.
Maybe we can figure some of those out.
What if we found a different path together?
What if we found a different path together?
Let's take a nice deep breath. Just notice if anything's coming up for you. So Rick is going to he loves these breaks, and I think they're a great time to get to kind of reset and then dive back in, because often we leave and then we're not put back in. Our survival brain actually likes being dipped like a candle over and over. It makes a bigger effect. So during this time, your break, to do whatever you need for your body, like listen, practice listening. What does it need? What would help it feel a little better? And if you're not getting any particular guidance, I invite you to do a little movement and then maybe jot down in a journal what's coming up for you. Because we're still in the container of the class, it gives you a chance to dip in and kind of explore without having to like, oh, everybody left and now I'm stuck with these feelings.
And some people are making some big leaps, like, well, what if I start making choices based upon feeling better and it turns out that it was a mistake? I think you can hear and feel the trust there. Think about, like, if I feel a tenth of 1% better, what's a baby step that might yield some experience that matters to me, but in a very small way? This is in energy work. You only need the micro slice, the micro step, the baby step, in order to get all the information that your intuition needs to give you about like how to listen and how to know. So think about that too. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording. Welcome back. And this would be a good time as you settle in again for this next segment to check your grounding. And grounding for calm and confidence is a little different. We'll be talking more about that in the community center. If you haven't visited us there, thrivingnow.center. So allowing your body to relax into gravity a little more. It's a way of saying, hey, gravity is here with me. It works with my body. Sometimes my body works against it, which is good for getting up off a chair. And sometimes it's okay for me to work with it a little bit more, allowing gravity to send the signal to your tissues. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to relax just a little bit. Not to, you don't have to fall on the floor. This is the practice, right? Like, what's a baby step? Relaxing. Like, oh, just a little bit of, see what I did? Just, uh.
Well, it's like
So you're,
people had shared about anxiety being in their body. Like sometimes we have to just baby steps remind it, train it to feel something different. And there's a
yeah.
lot of work we can do, but that just this grounding, like let yourself for just a moment feel more relaxed if you can.
Mhm. And then confidence, presence. You guys have made it through an hour together on this subject. This
Really
really
tough
puts
subject.
you in, this really makes you an exceptional person. I just want to say. Um, the emotional world is rife with a lot of different energies, and you've been with them. We've tapped on things like hopelessness. Maybe you're not hopeless, but we've taken you there, that part of you that maybe has an inkling of hopelessness at times. We've touched on that. And you come back and you're here. So thank you. And we're gonna do some tapping now. We have a volunteer, Eli. I think that's how you pronounce your. Is it Eli or Ellie?
Yeah, Eli.
Eli. Great. Um, and do you have a preference, Eli, for working with me or Kathy as the lead here? Either one is great for us. Do you have a
Kathy.
preference? Great.
Yeah, glad to. So if you would take a nice deep breath. And what's coming up for you around this?
The thing that came up and has been coming up is like my body's not safe.
Okay.
I'll start to like when I listen to it and do what I think it wants, I'll start to just like naturally lose weight and then feel really unsafe. Like outside, especially, like I feel somewhat okay if I'm this weight and I wear like loose, baggy clothing.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. All right. So let's just start with a little bit of tapping and we'll see what comes up for you if that's okay. And you're welcome to change my words or tell me if it doesn't fit for you, okay? All right. Karate chop. Even though I feel like I need to hide,
even though I feel like I need to hide,
I don't want anyone to see my body as attractive.
I don't want men to see my body as attractive.
I don't feel like it's safe.
I don't feel like it's safe.
I'd really like a better way to walk through the world,
I'd really like a better way to walk through the world,
even though I've learned to hide my body,
even though I've learned to hide my body,
because I don't feel like my body is safe out in the world.
because I don't feel like my body is safe out in the world.
I'd really like to be more vital
I'd really like to be more vital
and to be able to listen to my body
and to be able to listen to my body
without all this fear coming up.
without all this fear coming up.
Top of the head. Hey, survival brain.
Hey, survival brain.
Eyebrow, you know this is scary.
You know this is scary.
Side of the eye, you have lots of evidence.
There's lots of evidence.
Under the eye, thank you for trying to keep me safe.
Thank you for trying to keep me safe.
Under the nose, I like that you want to keep me safe.
I like that you want to keep me safe,
Chin, but I don't really like the way you go about it.
but I don't really like the way you go about it.
Collarbone, I wish we could find a better way to do this.
I wish we could find a better way to do this.
Under the arm, and I want to feel safe again.
And I want to feel safe again,
Top of the head, even though I'm not sure how.
even though I'm not sure how.
Just take a nice deep breath. What is coming up for you?
I mean, it feels true that, like, I don't know if there is a different way.
Okay.
Like, when I do start to lose weight, I do get more attention.
Okay, karate chop. I'm not sure if there's a different way.
I'm not sure if there's a different way.
I might be trapped here.
I might be trapped here.
When I lose weight, I get more attention.
When I lose weight, I get more attention.
And my survival brain is very scared.
And my survival brain is very scared.
Top of the head, I don't want to have bad attention.
I don't want to have any attention from men.
Any attention? Okay. Eyebrow, my survival brain thinks any attention is scary.
My survival brain thinks any attention is scary.
Side of the eye, but honestly, there are some kinds that might be a little fun.
But honestly, there are some kinds that might be a little fun.
Under the eye, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
Under the nose, I'm just saying that to humor Kathy.
I'm just saying that to humor Kathy.
The truth is, no attention feels good.
The truth is, no attention feels good.
Collarbone, because my survival brain thinks it's dangerous.
Because my survival brain thinks it's dangerous.
Under the arm, and I'm not sure how my survival brain can see this any differently.
I'm not sure how my survival brain can see this any differently.
Top of the head, I may be stuck in this place.
I'm gonna be stuck in this place forever.
Okay, so just take a deep breath. It's okay to say, like, we're not creating this. Like, people that are into, like how our thoughts create the real reality. Those thoughts are all present in your survival brain, your subconscious right now anyway. We're just naming them out loud and let's see, what's coming up for you when you say that. What do you notice?
I feel pressure behind my eyes.
Okay.
A little bit dissociated.
Okay.
Like all of the words land, but I feel kind of far away.
Okay. Okay. Does it feel like you're stepping away because this is scary to even talk about?
It feels overwhelming to feel how scared I feel, like
Okay. Yeah.
being in my body and getting attention.
Yeah. Karate chop, I'm disassociating right now.
I'm disassociated right now.
Because it feels so incredibly frightening.
Because it feels so incredibly frightening.
I don't even want to feel how scared I am right now.
I don't even want to feel how scared I am right now.
At the thought of getting attention.
At the thought of getting attention.
I really want to find a better way through this.
I really want to find a better way through this.
And the truth is, I am terrified out of my mind.
And the truth is, I'm terrified out of my mind.
Top of the head. Thank you for disassociating from this fear.
Thank you for disassociating from this fear.
Eyebrow, my body is really smart.
My body is really smart.
Side of the eye, it's telling me it's too much.
It's telling me it's too much.
Under the eye, so all I have to do is take baby steps forward.
So all I have to do is take baby steps forward.
Under the nose, the very fact that I'm sharing this out loud is huge.
The very fact that I'm sharing this out loud is huge.
Chin, I'm here sharing this and tapping.
I'm here sharing this and tapping.
Collarbone, and that might allow a little bit of a release.
And that might allow a little bit of a release.
Under the arm, the truth is I'm scared out of my mind.
The truth is I'm scared out of my mind.
Top of the head, but I'm still here taking this courageous step.
But I'm still here taking this courageous step.
And maybe it'll make a little bit of a difference.
And maybe it'll make a little bit of a difference.
Take a nice slow deep breath. What are you noticing in your body?
Fear. Feels like I want to be out of my body because it's not safe.
Okay, so can you just for a moment, and if other people have fear coming up, this is a really good practice. We are as humans, we're afraid of fear. Fear is a sign often that something's dangerous or wrong, survival-wise. But is there anything actually dangerous in the room you're in right now?
No.
Okay. So if you can, let yourself just feel that fear. We're just going to do it for a few seconds. Just feel that fear and let yourself look around the room and just imagine your survival brain is actually looking and notice there are no tigers or lions in the room. If you can just look around. No men, no tigers, no lions. I don't think your cat counts as a lion.
His name is Tiger.
Yeah, okay. Well, so there's maybe a small tiger, not a dangerous one. So okay, and then you don't have to hold on to it for very long, but just that little peak, you're building up a muscle that can really serve you in the long run, really powerfully, because we are afraid of fear. Like I want to run away from it too. And the more I can just like help my survival brain see that it's afraid, but there's not an actual danger, the more I can, like, I don't have to be driven by that, because we can be very driven by fear and we can just knee-jerk reaction to something else. Right this moment, you're actually safe, but you're feeling afraid. Which means often if we can help our survival brain distinguish between, okay, we don't want to shut off our survival brain ever. It's there for a good reason. People that wouldn't, have no connection to it, they die. So we're not saying don't ever put the fire alarm off, but let's actually look and see if there's a fire first. And as you do this work, I think what you'll find is that there's a lot more safety than you realize. And your brain may be going, no, I don't want to see safety. And it's really scared. But if you keep tapping and keep calming the amygdala, the hippocampus down, and letting your brain notice, hey, right this minute, I'm actually safe and I can feel it for a few seconds, that'll start building up that muscle there. How does your body feel right this minute?
My head feels heavy. So it scares.
Yeah.
Like squeezing my sleeve.
Thank you for role modeling. Like you brought, tears are welcome here. I love that you role modeled this. Really, you brought something that's very intense for you, I imagine. And the fact that you're willing to tap on that and share with that is beautiful. And I think it role models for a lot of people. This level of fear usually takes some time to work through, but each time you step in it and step out, you actually are making a difference. And one of the analogies Rick uses that I love the most is if you're flying from LA to New York and you want to go someplace different, all you have to do is change your trajectory 1 degree. So if you can bring that fear down from a 10 to a 9.9, you're going to end up in a different place than you are right now. Does that make sense?
I think it just increases every time I go outside.
Okay, so it's called kindling. There's a thing where if you're already very afraid, you can actually increase the fear. You can re-traumatize yourself. So that's beyond the scope of what we can go into right now. But there are ways, like if you can do baby steps so you're not actually increasing it. You want to push yourself, like if you're at the gym, you want to lift enough weight that you're kind of building the muscles, but you don't want to tear anything. And if your fear is increasing, it might be that you're tearing things. You're trying to push yourself really hard. So yeah, I wish we had time to go deeper into that right now, but we don't have the bandwidth. So are you feeling relatively grounded right now? Can you pet your cat? What could you do to help yourself feel calm after stepping into this?
Yeah, I feel okay and I can grab an animal.
Okay, good. I'm really glad that you have Tiger there. Thank you so much, Eli. I keep saying your name wrong because I'm trying to say it right. Sorry. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So some resources. Thank you very much, Eli. Trauma and the primitive brain was extremely helpful for me in my own fear of men that was based upon a trauma in my teenage years to understand this more and more. Kathy touched on it. thrivingnow.com/brain is a presentation that Kathy structured, and it takes us into that. So that can be very helpful. thrivingnow.com/brain.
In the chat. And there's a bunch of people saying thank you, Eli. I don't know if you're watching the chat, but I know sometimes when I've done something that feels really scary, seeing other people appreciate can help.
And also, I want to acknowledge that since trauma informs the approach that Kathy and I use, because our assumption is that we've all experienced big T's and little t traumas, and they impact us. Oftentimes, we think about a change as changing our action. Like, oh, I'm going to take my baby step is to start losing weight again. No, no, no. In the emotional work that we do, it's to, like Kathy said, like step into it, and then like the practice of am I with my body? And if I need to dissociate in order to go outside, okay, but I'm aware of it. It's like that's a huge step. Even just being aware of like what my body does when it's in this world. Um, a lot of people try to deny, like, oh, it's not so bad out there. Oh, that's not my approach. No, it's like, okay, if I tend to myself and my own energy, then I will be carrying myself in my own home differently. Like when I come back home, I will feel more like I can quiet myself down. I'm not like in vigilance for the next time I have to go out or interact with someone. So like and these things do build up in our body. And that's an aspect that we're going to touch on. One of the real skills is relieving pain and trauma from ourselves and in our environment. Um, so we'll be going deeper into that. Kathy and I have a whole program on that. If you just go to the free presentation, it's not a pitch for the program. It's really good, solid information about the trauma. So thank you, all of you, for touching on these, because as we become aware that, hey, like I've turned to a friend, I said, hey, it sounds like you're pushing yourself. I need to push myself, don't I? Yeah, no. What if you don't have to push yourself? What if the energy work, the unwinding, the healing, the being healing of the trauma, tapping is really good for that. It's the best thing I know. And for some people, there are other techniques that work even better for them. But for me in general, EFT tapping for trauma work, there's a particular arc that we can go through on that.
And I think trauma and our social conditioning surround us everywhere. So one of the things I speak internationally on body image and body confidence, and one of the things we talk about is we're bombarded with information. So one of the latest studies says we're getting every day, the average person is getting 3,000 ads blasted to them, 3,000 ads that are put in front of them, pitches. And there's estimated that 300 of them are negative just about about fat, about people being bigger. And I think there's more passive ones in that too, where we're constantly shown on TV the people that are funny and desired and intelligent and have their life going well. They're skinny always. They're portrayed that way. And they're slowly making a few changes. The Dove ads, there's a few people, but they're little drips in the sea of media that we're swimming in. So I think it's really important if to get ongoing support around this, to be with people that are working on their body image and their way of looking at it, because this will role model it for us. Rick has the Thriving Now Circle. If that's something that, if you want some more, he does great tapping, open topics, as well as specific topics. But if that's something, if you want to immerse yourself around with people that are working on their own body confidence and other things, it's really great. And we also have a program on
Shouldn't that be the Intimacy Dojo link?
yes, I screwed it up. I'll re-retype that. It should be the intimacydojo.com /body confidence. There's a body confidence program Rick and I made that we're offering a coupon for 50% off right now for you, because you're here being courageous and putting up with me putting the wrong link in the chat. So I will fix that right now. I just
So
think this is so
go ahead.
much. I just think this is just such an important topic because we can never get away from our bodies. They're always part of how we interact with each other. And anybody that wants love, connection, career success, we're bringing our body along with us. So
So we have a little less than 10 minutes, and we've 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 touched on all of these, but I'd like to do two specific tappings. One on something that I've lost, that the feeling and honoring that something has changed in your body, and also then some of the noise, like what we're attuned to. So I'd like to lead, Kathy, the one on I've lost something and I'm
yeah,
grieving it.
great.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And we could do a weekend workshop on any of these subjects. So I do invite you to bring your wisdom and your questions to the thrivingnow.center. Continue this engagement together. Right, Chop? Even though this part of me has changed.
Even though this part of me has changed,
And that may be forever.
and that may be forever,
And I'm grieving that.
and I'm grieving that.
And I can be angry about it.
I can be angry about it.
I can be frustrated about it.
I can be frustrated about it.
I can be grieving about it again.
I can be grieving about it again.
I can be sad and cry.
I can be sad and cry.
Maybe I don't have to take it out on that part of me.
Maybe I don't have to take it out on that part of me.
I'm with this part of me
I'm with this part of me
every single day.
every single day,
Eyebrow, every single moment.
every single moment.
Side of the eye. It's doing the best that it can.
It's doing the best that it can.
Under the eye. I'm doing the best that I can.
I am doing the best that I can.
And those, we're doing the best that we can.
We're doing the best that we can.
Jen, it's okay to grieve.
It's okay to grieve.
Hold on. It's okay to accept.
What did you
It's
say?
okay to accept.
It's okay to accept.
We are. And it's okay also to take loving action.
And it's okay to take loving action.
Little bit by little bit.
Little bit by little bit.
With all the parts of me.
With all the parts of me.
Including the ones that I haven't really liked all that much recently.
Including the parts that I haven't really liked that much recently. Yeah, and if you notice some anger, at one point I was like, no, I'm not doing enough. It's great to tap on that too, because I think most of us are doing the best we can every given moment. And we just think we're not because we're shitting and comparing on ourselves. And I think that can bring us to the noise. So if you're having a lot of noise in your head about this, about anything, realize that we are bombarded a lot. Our survival brain is kind of flooding us. The analogy I use for old traumas, things we haven't cleared, is like each one is a TV station or a radio station blaring on a different channel. The more intense the trauma, the louder the TV is. And if you've ever been in a place where they sell TVs, where they have 50 TVs all going at different times, like different channels, no wonder it's noisy in our heads. Those are old traumas. Traumas are stored as present tense in our subconscious. They don't realize it's past until we tap on it and clear it, or we clear it in other ways. So if you're having a lot of noise, we can do some tapping and invite those to be a little quieter, to invite the things that are really important to come to the surface. So let's just karate chop, even though there's a lot of noise in my head.
Even though there is a lot of noise in my head sometimes.
All the shoulds.
All the shoulds.
My task list.
My task list.
The things I want to do.
The things I want to do.
All these messages from my body.
All these messages from my body.
And the requests from people around me.
And all the requests from people around me.
No wonder it's noisy in there.
No wonder it's noisy in there.
And I'd really like some clarity and quiet.
I'd really like some clarity and quiet.
Top of the head, I can't pay attention to all of this.
I cannot pay attention to everything.
Eyebrow, no wonder I feel anxious and stressed.
No wonder I feel anxious and stressed.
Side of the eye, sometimes I just freeze and don't do anything at all.
Sometimes I freeze and don't do anything at all.
Under the eye, and then I feel more behind.
And then I feel more behind.
Under the nose, I
Blame my
invite.
body
I
and my brain.
invite.
I invite.
Okay. I invite my system to slow down and quiet down.
I invite my system to slow down and quiet down.
Chin, I'd really like to just be able to hear what's most important for my well-being.
I'd really like to hear what's most important for my well-being.
Collarbone, I invite the universe to guide my attention.
I invite the universe to guide my attention.
Under the arm, to the thing that I can do right this minute.
The thing that I can do right this minute.
Top of the head, that will do the best and most good for me and others.
Do the best and most good for me and others.
Just take a nice deep breath. And one of the things I love, I forget who I first heard this from, but they would say, I'd like this, or if there's something I haven't thought of that's even better, I'd like that as well. So, something you can add in there too. Like often we have plans and I have all this list, but maybe it's something that I hadn't thought of. Maybe I just need to go sit in the back porch and watch the birds for 5 minutes as opposed to clean the living room, clean the kitchen, put the laundry on, whatever. Sometimes it's just a moment of quiet and peace, and it may not look like doing, but that can be really powerful when we're trying to clear things and just enjoy life.
Mm. It's really normal to dissociate from parts of our body that have been involved in trauma or pain. It's really normal to create that disconnect. It's a survival mechanism. It's not a thriving mechanism. These real skills are about thriving. They're about like, okay, I want to quiet the noise. And I want to bring something that matters to me, as Kathy put into the tapping. What matters to me? And if kindness matters to you, like you'd like to live in a world that was a little more kind, then the next time you walk outside or even just from your bedroom to the toilet, see if you can take your friend, your ankle, your your belly, your brain, whatever part of you that's had a rough year or decade or life, and put your arm around them, you know, and say, hey, we can go at whatever pace. Pace isn't important here. We're just together. The pace is not important. We're together. And that when we do that, when you do that, if you choose to, you'll notice some things about how alive and loving the parts of you that are suffering, even their attitude towards you is different. There can be resentment built up in their tissues, but there's still a willingness to be in this relationship, till death do us part. And hopefully with some moments of real kindness and love and connection too. Kathy and I share an email box at support@thrivingnow.com. You can reach me personally at rick@thrivingnow.com, Kathy at theintimacydojo.com. Thrivingnow.center is a place for our community to go into the exploration and the shared wisdom. Non-participation has become something that, we've gotten used to. We've become observers. I know that your wisdom matters because what you've shared in the chat has impacted me and changed the course of this workshop. And if we continue this, then we'll change the world, the emotional world, for ourselves and the people that we hold dear. So
ripples going
Thank you,
out in the
Catherine.
world. Thank you all for your courage and for being here. And I hope this serves you. Be gentle with yourself, get something to drink, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Mhm. Thank you.